Hey everybody, hope things are going well. On today's episode, we're going to be using cracked wheat. Now, this is an old comfort food. Since the dawn of time in the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia, this has been around with us. Essentially, you boil it up, you let it dry, then you crush it up. It comes in three forms basically: coarse, medium, and fine. Medium is the most common. The Arabs would call it burghul, the Turks would call it bulgur, and Cypriots and some Greek people would call it purguri. But it's cracked wheat. Anyways, today's episode, I'm going to make a very simple dish using cracked wheat, and I encourage you to try it. It's healthy, it's simple, and it's a good replacement for rice or potatoes. But remember, if you have problems with gluten, don't eat it. Anyways, let's check it out. For today's episode, we're going to do cracked wheat with tomatoes and chickpeas. First, we're going to need 540 grams of cracked wheat, medium coarseness. It's about 3 cups. We're also going to need a pound of tomatoes, fresh. Also, we're going to need 300 grams of cooked chickpeas. These are dry, but I'm going to cook them later. Along with the pound of tomatoes, we're going to need a concentrate, either 10 grams of tomato paste, or do what I'm doing, 20 grams of tomato powder, which is essentially dehydrated tomatoes which you've crushed up. It adds flavor and color. It's a really good concentrate. We're also going to need 1 chopped up onion, and we're going to rinse off the grains. Just put it under a tap of cold water, get rid of the surface starch. It's very easy to do. Now for the tomatoes, we're going to blanch them, and we're going to peel them and chop them. Very simple procedure. Now the Arab word banadoura comes from the Italian pomodoro, meaning tomato. It worked its way into the lexicon. It was a popular trade item. Anyhow, we chop up our tomatoes, and it should look like this. Now we're also going to need about 2 grams of cumin. Now here's how we assemble the whole dish. You get 30 mils of oil on medium heat in a fairly large pan because there's a lot of grain to accommodate. We put in our onions. We're going to fry them out until they're golden. About 7 minutes. Just keep your eye on it. You don't want to burn your onions. Afterwards, we're going to add our grain to the fried onions in the oil. Now you make sure you stir this all around. You want to make sure the grains are coated with the onions and the oil. It adds additional flavor and nothing will burn in your pan. Once you've done stirring, we're going to add all our tomatoes, our tomato paste, our cumin, and our liquid. Now, depending on how juicy your tomatoes are, we're going to add 750 to a liter of water to our mix. Then we're going to season it up with some salt. Then we're going to cover it very low heat for 15 minutes. We'll check to see if it's wet or dry. Then we're going to add 30 mils of good olive oil, our cooked chickpeas. We're going to stir it around, and we're going to let it rest covered off the heat. And that's it. Burghul bil banadoura with hummus. Or chickpeas, tomatoes, and cracked wheat, along with some fried zucchinis in vinegar and some lemon roasted chicken. A nice Mediterranean dinner, healthy and quick to do. I suggest you try to do it. Also, if you have a ton of leftover grain, mix it with some raisins and nuts. Makes a good cabbage roll. Try it out. Make a Mediterranean mezze platter at home. Anyways, have a good week, everybody. Cheers.